Sometimes you just get that game that clicks and you just keep playing. That's what gets us to this video today. We're coming up with a bunch of games that are super sticky. They're addicting. They'll keep you playing for hours and hours and hours. We've got 10, no more, no less. By the way, this is a new channel, so if you could hit the subscribe button, we would love it. That helps us out, and we would love to keep this little operation rolling, so thank you in advance. Anyway, let's get started with the first game.
I'm tired of this.
Kicking off at number 10, we've got Solar Ash, a game that might trick you into thinking it's just another artsy title obsessed with grand messages over solid fun. But peel back that first impression, and it's a total win. Think the pathless vibes, but sharper, sleeker, and distinct enough to carve its own lane. Sure, there's a story, and it's got some real depth, but this is no pretentious slog. It's a joyride from start to finish. The way the mechanics weave together keeps every second buzzing with energy, driving you forward through slick platforming, tight combat, and a flow that most games like this can only dream of nailing. The world's a stunner, gorgeous visuals paired with movement that feels buttery smooth, and it all clicks into this seamless, satisfying package. You start off simple, but soon you're dodging and weaving through wild boss fights that look like they escaped a fever dream, grinning the whole time. It's not a marathon of a game, but it doesn't need to be. Solar Ash is like that crisp, perfect fall day you didn't see coming, polished to a shine and begging for more eyes on it. Easily one of my top picks here.
This is unbelievable.
Here's a fresh take on Concrete Genie, sitting pretty at number 9. This game somehow dodged the spotlight for way too long, overlooked by most gamers until PlayStation Plus gave it a well-deserved nudge into the mainstream. At first glance, it might scream kids game, but hold up. There's a clever twist in its mechanics that reels in older players too, maybe because we got a soft spot for the pure chaos of slapping paint all over everything. Picture it as a distant relative of Epic Mickey, where you're brushing color across the world and summoning quirky little creatures to push the adventure forward, all tied to a painting system that's trickier than it looks. The story's pretty straightforward, nothing groundbreaking, but it keeps you hooked, adding just enough heart to avoid feeling like a paint-by-numbers snooze fest. What makes Concrete Genie shine is how it sidesteps the usual cliches of its genre, blending its artsy vibe, mechanics, and world into something that feels genuinely different. It's chill, almost like a cozy escape, yet somehow you blink and hours have vanished because it's way tougher to walk away from than you'd think. Not flawless, sure, but it's got this quiet charm that sneaks up on you and sticks around. Coming in at number 8, we've got Hades, a game that hooks both die-hard players and casual explorers alike. It's widely credited with drawing newcomers into the roguelike scene, and while the Greek mythology tale might not grab everyone, the gameplay is where it truly shines. Near flawless, most would say. A deep progression system keeps the loop engaging, paired with a wealth of content to dig into. Its clever storytelling sprinkles bits of narrative around the hub, tying every death of Zagreus into the broader journey, so even wiping out feels like progress woven into the story. You're rewarded despite the setbacks, which keeps the sting of defeat at bay. Combat's fast as a whip, simple to grasp yet a beast to perfect, unfolding step by step to build your skills before the real chaos hits. With a mix of weapons, upgrades, and foes to tackle, every run feels fresh, steering clear of that repetitive slog some games fall into. It nails what makes a roguelike addictive, serving up quick, satisfying sessions that still push the plot forward, whether through a chat with your dad or a nudge in the narrative, reminding you your efforts aren't in vain. Landing at number 7 is Katana Zero, a slick gem from Devolver Digital that's as odd as it is addictive. This game loves to toy with your expectations, flipping the script just when you think you've mastered its rhythm. Yet somehow, it's a crowd pleaser, blending tight design that welcomes all players without dumbing down the challenge. You step into the shoes of a time-freezing, katana-wielding assassin, a setup that might seem like a fallback for folks who couldn't handle Hotline Miami's chaos, but it demands its own unique flair to truly shine. Every detail feels intentional, polished to a razor's edge, and balanced, so you're always in the fight, but victory hinges on real skill. One stray bullet can end your run as you carve through a building full of foes, and the brutal, brilliantly crafted bosses might have you teetering on the edge of rage quitting. Still, when you push through, the payoff is a rare blend of triumph and glee that few titles can match. The intricate story pulls you in, the design is flawless, but the real magic? You can dip in for an hour or two and walk away grinning, fully satisfied in a way most games can't manage. Sliding into number 6, we've got Little Nightmares 2, a title that might feel like an oddball on this list at first glance. It's one of those story-heavy cinematic experiences where the visuals and atmosphere often steal the spotlight over intricate gameplay mechanics. But here's the kicker. Little Nightmares 2 pulls off something special. It hooks you with its quiet, creeping charm, weaving a layered tale and delivering pulse-pounding action without drowning you in exposition or emotional baggage. The gameplay? It's quirky, fun, and surprisingly tough, but not in the way you'd expect from the usual heavy hitters on this list. Honestly, it's the kind of game that shouldn't be this addictive, yet somehow it is. The scares hit hard, and the eerie, almost grotesque fairy tale vibe of the creatures you're dodging or fleeing from keeps you on edge, leaving you piecing together the story long after it ends. The twists and turns are clever without getting needlessly tangled, and the pacing is spot on, with gameplay loops that feel tight and purposeful. It's a strange, niche little gem that, against all odds, grabs you and doesn't let go. Coming in at number 5 is Risk of Rain 2, a title that can easily devour countless hours of your time. At first glance, it might seem like just another roguelike, but don't be fooled. Its true appeal lies in something unexpected: the sheer liberty to roam and discover. While many games in this genre box you in with limited options at the start, Risk of Rain 2 hands you a broad set of moves right away, daring you to master them as you decide how long to linger, battling foes to gather enough gold for every item and uncover every hidden nook before the challenge spikes. No matter how long you play, you're always the one steering the ship. The sense of growth stays satisfying, with slick movement mechanics tied to items and perfectly timed power boosts that keep things fresh. It flips the roguelike formula on its head, where each run could lighten the load or crank up the heat if you're not careful. This game demands a sharper mindset thanks to its razor-sharp mechanics, and honestly, it's the kind of experience that keeps pulling me back. Need something to dive into? Fire up Risk of Rain 2 and see where the next run takes you. Coming in at number 4, we've got Hollow Knight, a title few would argue against calling exceptional. This game nails every aspect of what makes a Metroidvania shine. It's an absolute blast to dive into, blending seamless exploration with a breathtaking art style that's spot on in every detail. The handcrafted characters, smooth animations, and diverse roster of enemies ensure the experience stays vibrant from start to finish. Hollow Knight pulls you in with its carefully paced learning curve, ditching tutorials and coddling for a pure, unguided adventure, and it's all the stronger for it. The combat feels almost musical, prioritizing skillful timing over raw reaction speed, where your precision outweighs any foe's brute force. Each encounter stands out, demanding you master your abilities rather than rely on overpowering strength, delivering a rewarding sense of triumph. The bosses, they'll test you a few times, but the challenge strikes a perfect balance. Tough yet fair, teaching you through each attempt without tipping into frustration. It's a stunningly crafted world that keeps you hooked, blending beauty and brilliance into one unforgettable package. Rolling in at number 3 is Death's Door, a game that hits you with a spark of brilliance just minutes after you start swinging. Right off the bat though, it's got a brutal learning curve that might send some running. Expect to eat dirt plenty early on if you're not ready for the grind. Push past that first savage, movement-heavy boss though, and it's like the game winks at you, revealing what it's really after: your patience and grit. Don't get it twisted, it's never a cakewalk, but it's less about reckless heroics and more about nailing patterns and timing, which makes it feel conquerable once it clicks. That steep start smooths out into a mastery arc that's downright rewarding, paired with exploration that hooks you with hidden goodies and clever secrets. The world's a stunner, charming, intricate, and begging you to poke around every corner. Sure, you'll flop against that first boss a dozen or 100 times, but once it locks in, death's door grabs hold and doesn't let go, you'll be itching to see it through, fueled by that perfect hardcore drive to keep going no matter how many times you bite the dust. At number 2 is Ori and the Blind Forest, starting with the 2015 gem and followed by its stellar 2020 sequel. Two masterpieces that showcase the pinnacle of what video games can achieve. These aren't just titles, they're meticulously sculpted journeys, blending the best of Metroidvania exploration and platforming with a fresh twist that stands on its own. The visuals, the soundtrack, the rhythm of the adventure, every piece is thoughtfully woven together to create something unforgettable, stirring your emotions while never letting go of pure enjoyment. Sure, the challenge can get downright fierce, even relentless at times, but the precision in every detail ensures it never feels unjust. It's a testament to balance being the heartbeat of a great game. When mechanics sync seamlessly with the narrative, when the world pulls you in, and when every jump and dash feels rewarding, that's where Ori shines. The story hits harder because the gameplay is so finely tuned, forging a real bond between you and Ori, the little spirit you guide. It's polished to perfection, every element clicking into place with purpose. Honestly, this is one of those rare games that's practically a guaranteed win. Everyone should give it a shot, and chances are, you'll be hooked. Topping down this list at number 1 spot, we've got Doom 2016, a title that defies the modern gaming trend of chasing hyperrealism or over-the-top gimmicks. This game is a masterclass in pure, unadulterated fun, crafted with such precision that it hooks players of all stripes. The plot? It's there, sure, but it's little more than a flimsy excuse to grab a double-barreled shotgun and blast through hordes of demons, and honestly, that's more than enough. The speed and smoothness of the movement keep you hooked, while dying feels like a quick hiccup rather than a setback. It strikes a brilliant balance, tough yet fair, rapid yet straightforward, with just enough twist to stay fresh. Every second of gameplay oozes satisfaction, turning each demon-slaying spree into a visceral, almost therapeutic rush. You feel it the moment you dive in. Each retry, even after dozens of deaths, brings something new, whether it's a fresh weapon or a wild strategy that either pays off or flops based on your skill. The secrets are clever, the maps are diverse and engaging, and the core action, absolute perfection. Bethesda teamed up with ID Software, and together they delivered a relentless, demon-shredding masterpiece.